back to you with your brunch for today. We are talking about women. This is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. We are here to, first of all, wish women a happy Women's Histories Month. The March has been declared as the Women's History Month. So I say to all the women, happy Women's History Month to you. I want to talk about relationships with women, relationships with loyalty and women. And also, this could apply for men, loyalty. We're coming out of Ruth 1 and 16. And I wanted to talk and read from Ruth 1 and 16 about their relationship. Many of you have heard the familiar story about Ruth and Naomi. And I want to not read so much because I know you've heard the story, but I want the main story I wanted to read, main verse I want to focus on is verse 16. Ruth 1 and 16 and 17. And it reads, "And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Where thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God." Verse 17 said, "Where thou diest, will I die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me." These are some strong words, you all. Talking about women and people, men as well, and relationships. In this story, it talks about how Ruth, Naomi, and Oprah, they had all lost their husbands. Naomi lost her husband, then Naomi lost both of her sons. And the thing to me was they were all grieving. This happened that she lost her sons within a 10-year time span. And these women were together even after they lost their husbands. And Ruth says to them that, to Naomi, "I want you to know that I'm loyal to you." Even though Naomi was telling her, like she told her other daughter, Oprah, she said, "My sons are dead. I don't have any more sons. All I have is two sons, and I had was two sons, and they're both gone." And so she told them to go back and live with your family and basically go back to your gods. So Oprah, she says, "Okay, I understand. I love you. I miss you. And I'm sorry, you lost your son. I'm sorry I lost my husband. I'm out of here." So she gets her thing, she packs up, and she leaves. And Ruth is looking at her like, "Okay, that's good." They could have went back together. They could have just, said, "Okay, we both going to leave together. You call me when I get there. You call me when you get there. And so it wasn't like that. Ruth saw something in Naomi as a mother-in-law, I would venture to say as a friend, as a sister, that made her want to stay. She not only wanted to stay, in verse 16 it says, "And Ruth said to Naomi, Entreat me not. Quit trying to make me leave." She says, "I'm not going to return to my family. I'm not going after them. I'm not going to my old gods." She said, "Wherever you go, I'm going." There are not many people, whether it be family or friends, that would say that on the in-law side. On the side that you or trying to figure out, now what do I do as a widow? My mother-in-law is a widow. I'm a widow. My sister-in-law is a widow. There's a point of grieving. But Ruth found strength as a woman, as a loyal person, even a man. She found strength. She seen something in Naomi that I don't know if she had seen before, but it was strong enough to tell her, don't keep asking me to leave. I'm not going anywhere. She says, wherever you go, I'll follow you. She says, I will go. Wherever you lodge, wherever you lay your head, I will go. In the Bible days, the man was always the breadwinner. He was always the one that took care of the family. So now that her husband's died, I'm not sure she had pension, 401k, anything like that, if the house had been paid off. But now it looks like Naomi had to find a place to stay. And Ruth said, wherever you go, I'm going to go. That could be in the streets. That could be back to her old family. That could have been anywhere. That could have been a shelter. But what I want you to realize and to see the point of this, that they both seen something in each other. In any relationship, it takes two. As a woman, as a man, in any relationship, it takes two. Two people to work hard at something. Two people to agree. Two people to compromise. I'm just talking about as Women's History Month. I'm talking about women, but this applies to anyone. This applies to men. This applies to your spouse. This applies to your mother, sister, your mother and daughter, a father and son. This applies to any type of relationship. So when she says, wherever you go, wherever you lodge, I will lodge. She saw something. She said, your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. That's strong, you all. That's deep. She had to come to the realization that this is where God sent me. This is where I'm going to stay. My husband's gone. I have no money, but I am not going anywhere. This also applies to a relationship with Jesus. This applies to a relationship that you have with God. Come what may, I may be in the streets. I may not have money. I may be on the root of trying to figure out why I'm sick, but come what may. Whether I end up in the streets, whether I end up in the penthouse, whether I end up dealing with people, places, and things, I don't know. Apparently, Ruth had not been to where Naomi came from. So when she said, I'll lodge where your people and believe what your God is, then she had to decide. She had some decisions to make. But what got me was Oprah. When Oprah left, she went back to her family. She went back to her gods, is what the Bible says. That she had a God before she met her husband. She went back to that God. Whatever that was, that God that she went back. But Naomi and Ruth are saying, no, this is where God has set us, and I know He has a plan. Naomi said to Ruth, if I was to have a child right now, I can't help you. The age different, everything, I can't help you. He may not want you. She said, I have nothing to give you. I don't have a bread. I don't have a place to stay. I have nothing to give you. So I am wondering, at what point did she say, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to serve you. I'm still going to be there for you. I still want to help you. It doesn't look like it was right after the funeral. It doesn't look like it. It was after she found out she's going to be a widow. But at some point in your mind, you're going to have to make up, come what may. Whatever happens, I'm going to stay with Jesus. I'm going to make this relationship work. It is a lot of work. Any relationship you have is a lot of work. It takes commitment. It takes loyalty. It takes determination. It takes resilience. It takes being intentional. It takes what God says we have. He says we're fully equipped. We're already armed. He says, everything that you need, I've given you. We must be like Ruth and see all the qualities, all of the characteristics that God has in him and want those things in our life. Ruth saw something in Naomi that could not shake her, even in a mourning and grieving state. She saw say something in Naomi that made her say that no, I'm sticking with you. I'm not going anywhere. My husband's died and I'm sad, but I'm not going anywhere. How many of you can say that with relationships? But you ought to be able to say that with God. You ought to be able to say that. I'm not going anywhere. No matter how I feel, no matter how I think, no matter what I hear. Can you imagine the people in the world that walking around and say, why is she still here? Her sister left, her husband died. Why is she still here? Why are you still walking around with Naomi, that widow? You know, both of y'all widows. Can you imagine what they felt for them? Nothing but pity. Naomi thought that she had done something. She thought that her life was cursed because both her sons and her husband was gone. Can't think that way. We can't look on the other side and say that, oh, they have their sons, they have their husbands, they're just blessed, blessed, blessed. And because I've lost it all, I'm not blessed. Because I'm sick, I'm not blessed. Because I'm in trouble, I'm not blessed. No, no, no. Naomi had to pick herself up. She had to realize that God had more for her, that this was not the end. It didn't start with Ruth, it started with Naomi. Basically, Ruth was encouraging her and telling her, we can make it. We can figure this out. We can pray. We can believe God. We can trust God and figure this out. So when Naomi says, okay, all right, I can't seem to get rid of this girl. She wanted to get rid of her so she could waddle in her pity. So she could say, well, it's just me. I have to do what I have to do. I don't have very much, but it's just me. I'm going to take care of myself. Sometimes it feels that way. You know, I'm just going to do me. Have you ever said that? I'm not going to worry about what people, places, and things have said about me. I'm not going to worry about what works and what doesn't work. I'm not going to worry about the ex relationships. She couldn't sit there and pity and worry about her husbands and everything they had and her sons and all that. The memories were great, but Ruth was not about to let her go down like that. Ruth and God were not about to let her just sit there and just say, no, you can't have it your way. God has formed for you and you have to fight. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. When you're going through your tests and trials, God said he reigns on the just and the unjust. People that never knew God, they have cancer, excuse me, they're dealing with things, and God is still helping them. They're not proclaiming to be Christians, but there's one thing I will say about it. They haven't given up. They're not fighting about it. They're not saying, well, I'm just going to just give up and die. I'm just going to do the bare necessity. I just have enough just for me, and that's it. They are still sharing. They are still giving. They are still fighting to have something. And that's what we have to do, women. We are the women that have to fight. God says, call for the wailing women. Call for those that are going to wail and travail as the Spirit makes intercession for them. He says, call for them. Don't call for those that are prideful. Don't call for those having decided that I'm just going to have this and that's enough. Don't call for the ones that are not willing to fight. God is calling on the women that are going to fight for their children. They're going to fight for their livelihood. That are going to fight for everything they feel they deserve. Or if they don't deserve it, it doesn't matter to them. They're going to keep on fighting. Women, I stopped by to tell you that you have a Ruth and you have a Naomi inside of you. You have something to fight for. Don't give up because of situations, issues, and matters. Don't give up to those things that you think are so big and enormous. God said, I'm greater and I'm bigger than that. So many times there's a situation that was so big in your mind that is trying to take you out. But to God, it was but a little thing. He said, if you can't make it through this little thing, it may have been something that you didn't get approved for a loan. It may have been something that you found out that you were sick and now you have to take a blood pressure pill. These little things, God said, are a light affliction. He said, but count it all joy. Count these things all joys. Work for it. Fight for it. If you have to crawl, if you have to scoot, if you have to scratch, if you have to bite, if you have to just every day take one moment, 1 second at a time, I want to encourage you that it's in there. Have you ever had a recipe, ladies? You know that you put the baking soda, the baking powder, the flour. You know you put the eggs in there. But when everything came together, it didn't seem like it was there. The cake started falling up. I put everything I needed in there. I followed the directions. I put the eggs in there. I put the eggs in the meatloaf and it's still falling apart. I put the breadcrumbs in there and it's still falling apart. God says, I don't care if it's falling apart. I don't care if every chain that seems to be binding you is falling and hitting the ground. I don't care if your hair is falling out. You got alopecia. I don't care if your teeth are falling out. You're brushing your teeth and it seems like your teeth are still getting periodontal diseases. You're still having issues. You're brushing your teeth and they're still yellow. God said, I don't care. What I put inside of you is still there. The faith, the love, the joy, the fight is still in there. Sometimes it seems like it's slow coming up. Sometimes it feels like that you can't feel and see the things that you should. You can't, taste and see. You can't taste it, that God is good. Sometimes you just feel like all I want to do is just reside here, just live here, just rest, just be, just let me be. No, welling women of God. No, women of God. No, Ruth. No, Naomi. Naomi, you got to fight. You got to fight because there's something that God says, I know what I put inside of you, and I'm waiting for it to come up and out of you like a river, a well of streaming water is going to come flowing out of you, and you won't be able to stop it. You won't be able to stop it. Have you ever seen something that cracked? The cup that cracked in the dishwasher, the cup that cracked, and you're trying to retain something that was in it that you really wanted and needed, and it just kept squishing out to finally you just gave it up. God said, this is not that. This is not that, Naomi. He said, I have put something inside of you and I had to break you. I had to burn you. I had to mold you. I had to make you. I had to put you on the wheel. He says, this is not that. He wants you to know that you have more people, more spirits for you than against you. God said, I prayed for you that you would not faint. He says, you're going to be healed. You're going to be delivered. He said, I know that it's great. He said, but I'm not going to put no more on you than you could bear. I know the weight of the world seems to be on your shoulders. I know the tears just keep flowing, and sometimes it feels like there's no more, and then it wells up again. He says, I know your heart is heavy. He says, but I'm going to take away that spirit of heaviness and give you joy, give you peace, give you love, give you endurance. I'm going to give you the long suffering because you said you don't want to suffer. But one of the fruits of the Spirit that we always don't talk about is long suffering. It is for us to suffer so that we can reign with God, so we can say, God, I want to know you in the fellowship of your suffering. He wants you to know how it felt when he died on the cross, how he was whooped and lied on. The same people that he healed, the same people that he raised from the dead. You don't hear about Lazarus being at the cross. You don't hear about the one with the issue being at the cross. You don't hear about Daniel being at the cross. God says at the cross. At that point where you have to cross over, where you have to go and choose that way. He says, I will be there for you. Ruth and Naomi came to a crossing point and they had to choose which way they were going to go. Were they going to go left? Were they going to go right? Were they going to go up and down. God says, I am there for you to make you sure you choose the right direction, to order your steps, to be a lamp unto your feet. God says, I'll be there for you if you just come to me. I've never seen a group of people in this nation that come and go to everybody else. You've been to your BFF, you've been to your sister, your brother, you've been to mama, but you won't go to God, the creator of the universe. You won't go to the God that created every eye, every hair, everything about you, every bone, every muscle, that knows your brain, that knows your DNA. You won't go to him. Why do we continue to go to the side chick, the middle man, the person that you don't even know, to strangers? You will trust a chair before you trust God. You'll sit down in that chair and pray it don't crack, pray it don't dump you on the floor. When it looks rocky, you go to a chair before you go God. You go to the doctor and believe everything the doctor says and then not pray about nothing. It's nothing wrong with going to the doctor. Nothing wrong with the believing what the God doctor said. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pray. I'm going to ask God, say, Lord, you took my husband. Lord, you took both my sons. And now you left me with these widows and I have nothing. I'm a widow myself. Now I have nothing. Ruth and Naomi, they came together. There is power in agreement. There's power in unity. You are better together. We are better together than apart. Find someone that's God-fearing. Find your divine connection as a woman. But most of all, find your relationship with God. This has been your brunch with Evangelist Regina, Kingdom Power Ministries. There is a Ruth inside of you. There is a Naomi. This is brunch. I need you to eat the whole roll. I need you to eat everything that belongs to you. Stop just eating sweets. Stop just eating your favorites and eat everything on the buffet. You're missing out because it looks this way. It feels that way. You know, some people don't like Jell-O and pudding because of the texture. But God says, this is what I've made for you. He says, kill and eat. Don't call what I call clean unclean. He says, get up from your stoop. Get up from your bend and straighten up and stand. And after you stood and stood, stand some more. And God says, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you where you are. I'm going to show you on the meter where you're going because you look like you're in the red. You look like you're at the bottom. But God said, I see you at the top. I see you at the top, well, the woman of God. I see you, man of God, at the top. I see you, son of thunder. I see you, daughter of Rizbah, daughter of Judah. I see you at the top of your game. I see you at the top. And I stand at the door and I knock. And I spread my arms out and I say, come to me. All ye that are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. God said, I got you. He says, come and eat. Let's sit at the Last Supper and let's eat. He says, here is some bread. Here's my wine. He says, I'll give you my whole body. What kind of God is that? I don't hear Buddha saying, I'll give you my whole body. I don't hear these other gods say, I'll give you my body to eat. God says, eat of it all. He says, and know every time you eat that I am with you and that you'll be strengthened. You have help. This is your month to shine. This is your month to get up and go, to find what you need and hold on. Don't just hold on with one hand, but hold on with two hands. Have you seen someone riding a horse and they're riding a horse with one hand and then all of a sudden the horse starts to buck, he starts to kick, and then they grab hold with two hands. Start out holding with two hands. And then when the situation, the issue, and the trouble comes and it starts to buck, it starts to fall, then you are already holding on. If it starts to fall, you'll already have a grip. God's going to hold on to you if you hold on to him. Wherever you go, she said, I'll lodge. Wherever your gods are, I'll God. Wherever your people are, I will be with your people. Wherever you die, Do you love God like that? Wherever you will be buried, I will be there. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. Ruth and Naomi. Ruth told Naomi, she said, if aught but death part thee and me. When we die, we will be with Jesus. So nothing has to part us. Nothing. Sometimes we don't know what to do, what to say. God said, just hold to my unchanging hands. Just hold on to what you know. Reach back on that testimony. Say, down through the years, God, you've been good. Do it again. Do it again. Women, we are strong. Men, we are strong. Together, we are stronger. God bless you all. Have a blessed and amazing day. This has been your brunch with Evangelist Regina from Kingdom Power Ministries. I love you all. Keep praying for us as we continue to pray for you.